Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the Mermaid Master coming at you guys again from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel today. We just got back from the Savage Strike sneak peek, and what an event that was. We had a record for a while for us. 8 people from the team show up to open booster packs at this event. We have more posting of some of the insane pulls that people got and different things that we did throughout the day. So look forward to that video. But today, guys, I am here because, as you know, I've been waiting for this set to drop for the brand new Neos support cards that I had been proxying for a very, very long time, but are now finally here. And small story, I actually almost left this deck at my locals when I had some card trouble. One of our team members ended up trying to charge his phone in my car and made the battery die. And so we didn't know what was the issue at the time. Had to figure that out. Crazy situation. And I don't really know what else to say besides that, but we ended up getting it fixed. But I ended up running upstairs while I was doing that, and luckily someone from the locals we were at, Pandemonium, returned this deck to me. I don't know what I would have done if I had lost this deck. It's a deck that's very close to my heart, something I really enjoyed building and still enjoy. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. So without further ado, that's what I'm going to say about that. But the deck profile itself, thanks to the new cards and some of the new support, has really come into its own. And I'm so excited to profile it for you. So guys, let's get started. So this Neos deck is, I believe it's 40 or 41 cards right now. And we're going to start things off with 3 Elemental Hero Neos. As I mentioned, guys, this is up from 2 copies that I was running before. The number of times that you get Neos Fusion, number of times this guy is in your deck, very important to have him here. And I will just note that unlike other Neos decks which are coming around, such as Rainbow Neos Turbo and other things like that, this deck is focused on summoning all 6 of the Neos Fusion guys. So that's very important to note about that. It's like all the original guys get to come out in this deck. That's how I always like to build all my decks. Yeah, the next ones we're running are 2 copies of Dark Panther, 2 copies of Grand Mole for the Neo-Spacians. Shout outs to Team Time Riders Cosmo King for one of my Grand Moles as well. Recently got them in a trade. Very cool cards, and the keys behind Elemental Hero Nebula Neos. So you have to run 2 of each. I do like Grand Neos as a guy, but Grand Mole is now back at 3 and truly one of the best Neo-Spacians still for non-targeting, non-destruction removal. While Dark Panther can be good itself, I think its real benefit relies in its extra deck monster, which is pretty much a 1-card negate, and very good card. Negate any effect monster on the field. The next card we're running, 2 copies of Neo-Spacian Aqua Dolphin. Aqua Dolphin I have in here as one of the best cards for removing things from your opponent's hand. It's huge at getting hand traps out of there. And you know, this combined with a couple of copies of your Contact Out and Neos can cause your opponent to ditch a whole bunch of cards from their hand. Just keep ripping things out of their hand with this card. Very good. And it's used to not be that good because field destruction used to be more prized, but with field destruction being more of a thing, if you can mess up your opponent's hand on the first turn, when, you know, rip a really good card out of there, it's a very good option to do that. So I definitely recommend 2 of this guy as well. So that's the last of the 2 of, and now we have only 1 of each of the last Neo-Spacians: Air Hummingbird, Flare Scarab, and Glow Moss. You might notice that Flare Scarab, I currently have a proxy in here for that. Sheet Cloud is the proxy. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to pick up a ultimate rare Flare Scarab. It's the last one that I am missing. So until I get that, Sheep Cloud's just chilling in here as a proxy. Flare Scarab is probably, in my personal opinion, the worst of the Neospatians, which just gains attack equal to Backrosh. You barely want to have it on the field, and you just want to send it for Flare Neos, who is good in his own way. Glow Neos is maybe not the best, maybe not the worst. Some people think he's the worst. I think he's personally one of my favorite. Very easy card to stall with if your opponent doesn't pop it off the board. And I have stalled several times with that card. Next card, of course, Neospatian Air Hummingbird, gaining you life points. Kind of opposite effect to its Neos counterpart, Fusion counterpart, but still a very, very good card to get you out of a pinch. So that's it for the Neospatians. Now we're moving on. 3 copies of Neospace Connector. Neospace Connector is fantastic. It's a great new piece of support, and I'd say this, it's kind of like a Neptibus thing where special summons anything out of the deck. You can either go for Isolde if you're playing Master Rule 4, if you're playing Master Rule 3. Pretty much if you have a Neos or Neospatian in your graveyard, he's a 1-card Neos Fusion card. Really, really good card. Can't speak enough about how much he helps out the deck. But he's not the only thing that helps out. Next card we're running in here, 2 copies of Elemental Hero Prisma. Still have Prisma in here for its own special ability. Very, very good card. And I haven't found a reason to take it out yet. It's great at getting things to your graveyard and for becoming materials for the monster. So it's in here at 2 for now, but that is subject to change. Next card I'm running is 2 copies of Honesty Neos. Pretty self-explanatory. Get that OTK damage in. And there's a lot of really, really inventive and interesting ways to use it in this deck. Then we've got 1 single Shadow Mist. Send it off of Neos Fusion or off of something else, and you got a benefit. And the last card we have in here is one that I replaced my Neospace Pathfinder with. It's Rainbow Dragon. So I'm looking to get the Ghost Rare, and it's currently in the mail right now. Not sure when it's going to arrive, but as soon as it does, guys, it's going right in this deck. Very, very good card for the Rainbow Neos Fusion, one of the best GX fusions. And with Neos Fusion, thanks to that card, you can activate this as well. One of the other really good things about this is it can be sent from the field to the graveyard with Prisma, as it is listed on a fusion material. It's not any useful by itself, but you run it for the sheer amount of power that you're able to bring out thanks to Neos, thanks to Rainbow Neos. So that's going to do it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells. Now, what would this deck be without the card that made it into what it is? 3 copies of Neos Fusion, brand new, guys. You cannot run any less than 3 of this card, and it has literally changed the landscape of the Neos deck. A huge power play, basically. Any Neos Fusion monster that requires level 2 or 2 materials, including Elemental Hero Neos, can be summoned with this card. That includes, of course, Rainbow Neos, and even the generic stuff such as Brave Neos and the Neos Warrior monster, Neos Knight. Any of your 6 2 material Neos fusions can be summoned with this as well. And basically it allows you to send fusion materials from your hand, field, or deck to the graveyard. And you could send something from deck and field, or hand and deck, or field and hand, or wherever you want to summon out that monster. And when that monster is on the field, Neos Fusion will go to the grave and can protect that monster, kind of like Return of the Dragon Lords does, if it would be destroyed or sent back to the extra deck, meaning that you can get a lot of extra life out of your guys. Granted, when you activate this card, Neos, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn, but I think that's a really, really good restriction for an otherwise would-be broken card where you can just keep looping things out of your extra deck, throwing them back in there. Could be trouble, but basically ignores the summoning condition, special summons the monster, and it's just too good, guys. It's like it solves literally all the problems with that Neos deck, and with like Neospatians before, trying to get that stuff to the graveyard. You got to run it in here at 3, guys. It's incredible. Next card we're running is the OG. When this guy came out, really, really good card. Miracle Contact at 3. Amazing, amazing card. Take them from your hand, field, and graveyard and put them back into your deck. The main benefit over this is you can still special summon over Neos Fusion, and he can make 3 or even 4 material fusion monsters. Very, very good card. Next we have this is Convert Contact. A nice draw spell in the deck. I do have a lot of problems with Convert Contact personally, as it can be greatly inconveniencing when Convert Contact comes out and you either have monsters on the field or no Neospatian in your hand. So it can brick you to an extensive degree. But when it works, and that cannot be overstated. Next, we've got 2 eCall. Get your Prismas, get your Honesty Neos, get your Shadow Mist if you need it to discard off of Aqua Neos' effect or whatever. Very good card. Next, we've got 2 Contact Out. Pretty much an OTK enabler. Very good for getting everything, but you have to know how this card works, and it can only work on fusion materials that have been sent back to the deck that are listed on the specific card. So if you make a Brave Neos or a Cosmo Neos or something like that with this card, you can't get the materials back. The materials must be listed. If all the materials listed on that monster are in the deck. So I have seen people try and mistakenly defuse like a Brave Neos or something like that just because I have extra copies of whatever they used in my deck doesn't mean that you're able to do that. So that's it for the 2 ofs. Now for 1 ofs. Rhoda, self-explanatory. A Hero Lives, and 1 copy of Neospace. I still do like Neospace a great deal. Now moving on to the trap cards. Starting off, I do have 1 of this guy right here. Hope for Escape. No matter what, I haven't been able to take it out of the deck. It's just too useful. Very, very good card. And then the last one, I need to pick up 2 more copies of it, but NEXT. This card is amazing. And it's like the other missing piece that the Neos deck needed. Basically allows you to special summon any number of Neospatian monsters from your hand or your graveyard, and 1 copy, remember that, just 1 copy of Elemental Hero Neos as well. So 1 copy of Neos and then any number of Neospatians. You can get them with this card. And it's just, when they're on the field, their effects are negated. They must come to the field in defense mode, but it doesn't matter because you'll be fusion summoning with them. And this card doesn't restrict you from normal summoning, doesn't restrict you from doing any other special summons after this. The problem is it is a trap card, so it can be used for defense, but the way that you're supposed to use it is when you control no cards, you can activate NEXT from your hand and get some big fusions, and then go for a Neos fusion play at the end. So that's it for the main deck. Now, guys, we're going to finally be moving on to the extra deck. Extra deck is exactly 15 cards now, and I'm going to go through each one. As I mentioned in the last profile, it's all about toolboxing. What are all the fusions used for? So, guys, starting out, we've got 1 copy of Elemental Hero Air Neos. Really good, gains the difference in attack from the fusion cards. Then we've got 1 copy of Aqua Neos, Flare Neos, Grand Neos, and Glow Neos. Each one of these has very different and particular uses. Air Neos is great for OTKing when your life points are low. Aqua Neos for ditching cards out of your opponent's hand. Flare Neos, if you got a lot of back row your opponent does, can get up to really, really high attack and beat over things. Grand Neos bounces something by targeting it once per turn. Glow Neos, I found a lot of use for lately. Pops monster spell or traps and then gets certain effects based on that. If it's a monster, can't attack, no battle phase. If it's a spell, cannot. If it's a trap, card switches to defense mode, and if it's a spell, which is my personal favorite, you get to attack directly with this. So I've done tons of damage over people for like 5k or something like that with Glow Neos. And an Honesty Neos after popping one of their face-up spell cards. Very good at outing like floodgates and stuff like that too. I popped a Quiet Life with it and then attack directly for 5k for game, which was very satisfying. And then finally, we've got 2 copies of Dark Neos. I think 2 copies of this card is incredibly important. I think he's one of the best. He's become one of the best ones now because of the support that we've gotten. Amazing, amazing card. And really, really strong as well. Negates any effect monster on the field, including himself, which means he doesn't have to have the very troublesome effect of shuffling back to the deck during the end phase. Now, for one-ofs as well, we have Elemental Hero Neos Knight, the generic Neos and Warrior Fusion, who can also be brought out with Neos Fusion. Elemental Hero Storm Neos, Nebula Neos, Magma Neos, and Chaos Neos. These are all your 3 of fusions. Each one of them have a special ability of their own. Magma Neos gains attack for everything on the field, including himself, 400 apiece. Chaos Neos is like a coin flip effect. Either flip the coin, negate monsters your opponent controls, destroy them, or send it back to your hand. Nebula Neos is probably the best one. Draws you cards and negates a card on the field. And then Storm Neos allows you to basically be a heavy storm on the field. And each one of these has a special ability when they shuffle back into the deck, unlike your 2 material Neos fusions. Magma Neos sends everything to the hand. Chaos Neos sets everything. Storm Neos shuffles it back to the deck, and Nebula Neos banishes it all face down. Each one of these is really good. Highlights, of course, on Nebula Neos. Amazing, amazing cards all around. I forgot my Storm Neos here. So Nebula and Storm are the ones that I summon, I think, the most. Next, guys, we've got Rainbow Neos. Pretty self-explanatory. Very good card. Look it up if you don't know what it does. Amazing. Then we have one of the brand new guys here, Elemental Hero Cosmo Neos. You might be asking why you have not seen Brave Neos. The reason for that being that I think that Brave Neos is... I'm still testing it out right now and deciding where I want to take the deck, but Cosmo Neos is incredible. Incredible. Neos in any 3 fusion materials, locks down the entire field when he comes in, so no back row, no responses, nothing to this guy. And then during the end phase, you can send it back to the extra deck and destroy everything your opponent controls. Very, very good card. Either you can use him for this, or you can get rid of him at some point and then summon a whole bunch of cards to OTK and your opponent's got no response. Very amazing and definitely recommended, guys. So that's going to wrap out the deck profile right now. The last card, of course, I have is 1 copy of Isolde. For Master Rule 3 players, of course, this will be replaced by Brave Neos. That's going to pretty much do it for me, guys. If you did like the deck profile, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe to the Team Time Riders YouTube channel. And as always, thanks so much